Morning gang, hope you had a good weekend. Man, it was a tough one. So in today's report, which I'm going to call Reidy's report, I hope that's not too egotistical, but I'm going to call it that. What I want to talk about is how that low clearance rate, how it can still turn into a real positive experience for your vendors, because we were auctioning in 12 different suburbs this Saturday and Sunday, and it was very, very obvious that irrespective of where you are in Melbourne, except for maybe over Belmont Way, Geelong and out the western suburbs where they're still going along all right, it's a really hard game. I mean, I'd say it was probably the hardest day I'd had in the field on Saturday when it came to actually getting action from buyers. So, but I want to talk about the silver lining to this pretty average looking cloud right now. So as agents, we've really got to make sure that we're focusing on the process and not just the pressure on the day, because if we're just focused on the pressure on the day, then we're absolutely going to get consumed by it, and it's going to turn into a very, very negative experience for yourselves and your vendors and your buyers, because they'll just think that nothing's happening. Now, we've been tracking some numbers over the last few months as the market has started to change, and I've been looking at the percentage of properties that have sold within 2 weeks of having passed in with us, okay? So obviously we're not 100% clearance rate, no one is, but we've been looking at the numbers of the properties that have passed in, that within 2 weeks of having been passed in, they have gone under contract and sold. Now, the clearance rate, it says 49%, but there was about 600 properties that weren't even reported, so God knows what that's going to drop down to. However, over the last few months, our clearance rate of properties that have passed in, that have gone 2 weeks afterwards and sold within that 2 week time frame, is 84%. Now guys, the reason why I talk about percentages and statistics and I track these things is because you can't argue with data. Now, if you were to take the percentage of private sales that after 6 weeks have sold, now I haven't got an exact figure for this, but when your average days on market is drifting to early 40 days for a lot of suburbs, so 41, 45 days on market, it's pretty safe to say that come the 6 week point, properties that start with a private sale will be lucky to reach 40% in terms of a success rate of those properties that have sold by 6 weeks. So guys, even though auction clearance rates under the hammer have dropped, the actual success rate of an auction campaign, having had 2 weeks extra to follow through with all the work that you've done, it's going to be around about 40-45% higher than if you were to start with a private sale. So guys, there is no point shying away from auctions. Statistically, if anything, you have got to do more auctions if you're going to give yourselves any chance of getting it sold within a reasonable time frame. Because even if it does pass in at auction, I tell you now, your vendors are going to be way happier that they've sold in 6 weeks instead of 45 days or more. You guys are going to be happier because the amount of our clients that are now collecting properties, going north of 50, 60, 70 listings and struggling to manage them is insane. Almost all of my clients are in a position where they have got way more than what they can physically handle. So it creates a greater efficiency for you guys as a brand. You get 2 bites of the cherry. You get to work at the vendors' optimistic level as to what they really want to achieve, but then you get the 2 weeks of the reality, meeting the market and working in a logical world, getting a result that allows them to move on with their lives within 6 weeks as opposed to 45 days or even longer. So guys, believe me, I know you can hear it in my voice, it is much harder now, much harder. However, if you put yourselves under a bit of pressure on that auction day, you're speeding the process up of getting an outcome at the end of the day. All right, guys, please give us a shout, post comments below if you don't believe me or if you disagree with anything that I'm saying, because we need to have active debates about this. We can't just sit back, revert to former of going private sale because we don't want to freak out, we don't want to lose at auction, because guys, all you're doing is setting yourself up for a much greater fall. And the other thing is, and I bet you this will resonate with a bunch of you, how many of your listings have jumped to other agents or have been threatening to jump to other agents? That is only going to happen if your days on market is drifting out. So if you want to protect yourself from doing that, you've got to look at seeing how you can be more efficient in this marketplace, and that is through going down the auction path initially. All right. And auctioneers, just as a little side note, if you are struggling with not being able to work in these conditions, i.e. seeing a bunch load of this, where all you're getting is folded arms, which I got all day on Saturday, then you need to upskill or revert to getting someone in that is a bit more experienced. Now that is not a sell, that's just a fact, because you've still got to make sure, irrespective of whether the auction sells or passes in, you've got to represent the brand in as good a way as you possibly can. So even though all 6 of mine on Saturday, 6 different suburbs, they passed in, 4 of them have now already sold, which means that we've done the right thing in getting it positioned in the right way.